We currently live in a very bad year. 2024 is awful, let's just fully admit that. And one thing that is definitely contributing to a general disdain towards life is social media. And I don't mean all social media. 2013 YouTube went hard, so hard. That was like peak internet, you know? I would know. I was there at the ripe age of 9. I am talking specifically about a disdain towards what has now been labeled as doom scrolling. Even without hearing the definition, you know what that means, even if you've never even heard the term before. And so many people literally can't escape it. It's got us by the giblets, you know? Like, you try to delete TikTok, and before you know it, you end up on another platform that is virtually the same thing. It is awful. I'm going to be transparent about an aspect of my personal life real quick. TikTok turned my own mother into a flat earther. Thank you, internet! And so today, I want to break free from this curse and document what it feels like to do so in hopes that I can convince at least one of you to try the same thing. Paging Ronnie Fishcakes. Doom scrolling is a form of constant stimulus. It's like the experience machine thought experiment, if you know what that is. So the complete opposite would just be to turn your brain off entirely.
Turn off your brain. It's not that easy.
Sure it is. I do it all the time.
Watch. You can't just turn off your...
TikTok-style videos are a short injection of dopamine into your brain without any sort of fulfillment for actually sticking through to the end, because they're usually just slop. And if you're not having fun with your little watching a car drive down a ramp in GTA 5 while a Joe Rogan clip is playing, you just skip to the next one. So in theory, I would need something that's time-consuming where I'm accomplishing something that doesn't require a lot of brain power and something that holds my attention so that I would not dream of quitting. And since this is a gaming channel, you know, let's choose a video game. Alright, we don't need to dilly-dally on this next part. You've all seen the thumbnail, you know what game it is. It's time for... Yeah, this was all just an elaborate ruse to play the Power Wash game. You got me. I don't think that this game is amazing compared to 2024 standards, but it's still one of the most unique gaming experiences there is. In 2024, every smashing success of a game is a genre-defining experience, an extremely difficult challenge, or a brilliant, perfectly sculpted story. People try to make their games fit into those categories because those are what elicit the most emotion and feeling out of its players. Whether it's joy, frustration, it makes you feel like you have an IQ of 1 billion, or it sends chills down your spine when something incredible happens in the story. Power Wash Simulator doesn't adhere to any of those rules. It's a simulator. It simply replicates power washing as accurately as possible to real life. No spice, no bullshit, just power washing. Okay, my camera just died. Unlike other video games that try to elicit emotion, playing Power Wash Simulator makes you feel absolutely nothing. And there's nothing quite like it. The only time you feel anything in this game is a sense of accomplishment when you're done playing it. You sit down with this game and have to do an extremely simple, monotonous task for like 40 minutes straight. There are no surprises, no glitz, no glamour, and the skill ceiling is on the floor. When I was in like grade 6, I was really into Overwatch, and I had a friend in my class at school who was also really into Overwatch, so we kind of bonded over that. But like thinking back, that kid was like really into like the weird, gross, raunchy kind of anime, you know? And like thinking back, I didn't even know what that was. So I had like no fucking clue that I was talking to someone who nowadays I would make an excuse. I would make up an excuse to get out of a conversation with that kind of person, you know? And I have. When I record any footage for this channel, I make sure to always have my mic set up in case I think of anything to say in the moment that I can then use later. But because this game is so uneventful, I said nothing for like 90% of it. I was alone with my thoughts and the white noise of the power washer. I enter into some sort of like sleepwalker state that I should not be woken up from. What do I do? Oh. Hey, Doc. Pumped. We all know that one person who despises the idea of being left alone with their thoughts, who will pull out their phone when you or they go to the bathroom when you're hanging out, or who can't, under any circumstances, eat without watching something at the same time. I truly wonder what that kind of person would do if they had to play this game, no music allowed, no podcasts, just them. I think they'd fucking short circuit, like their head would explode, and it would be extremely traumatic to watch. But to those of us who are not lost causes, actually that's kind of mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. But to those of us who do not think like that, we all get to enjoy the peace that this game brings. As I'm cleaning these rocks, I just remembered something that I saw the other day that really made me like question what the fuck I was doing on Instagram Reels. I saw a dude just like try to bite into a rock. Like a straight up fucking rock. And of course his teeth like break. His teeth literally come out of his mouth. They like shatter out of his mouth. And thinking about that, I'm like, what? What happened? What happened to this? What happened to the human race, you know? In the moment when I was recording all of this footage, I was just saying whatever the hell I felt like whenever I wanted to, but in hindsight, I noticed that everything I was saying all had something in common. Because the gameplay was so unremarkable in the sense that it was not worth commenting on, almost every time I spoke, it was instead an anecdote from my past, whether it was family related or from my time in school. I feel like I've been like Stockholm syndromed because sometimes, like whenever I think back to the 2020s, I kind of look back on it fondly, you know? Like I get that like there was a global pandemic and everything was very weird, that goes without saying, you know? But I feel like it was weird for so many reasons other than COVID, you know? Like my one time my dad just randomly changed his like his username on all of his social media to have like a different last name. And we're all like, what the fuck? This is we all have your last name. Why are you changing your last name? Turns out that if you go by like blood wise, like our last name isn't even like our last name. It's like the last name was inherited by like he got it from his stepdad. I didn't even know this shit. In the 3 years that I've been making YouTube videos, I've never once just sat down and shared one of my own personal stories from my life. I'm usually a very private person, but this game teased that information out of me. I straight up didn't even comment when I used my power washer to write out vagina in the dirt. I just silently did that and then walked away. The gameplay isn't something that you think about as you do it. So really, you spend a lot of time in this game reflecting on yourself, which as much as you try to avoid that, you can't. You know, it'll catch up to you eventually, and this game is great for causing that to happen. I just remembered when I was in high school, I stole a water fountain. Like, it was like, I went to a very old ass high school. It was legitimately like a castle. I would show pictures, but I don't want to like give away information of where I went to school, you know? But they had these really like crusty old, straight up just like metal water fountains from like decades ago, but they were all like moldy and gross because they were so fucking old and had not been, you know, maintained. And there was newer, better water fountains installed, so obviously nobody went to the shit ones. And one day, I guess they decided they'd haven't had enough of them, and so they called in some dudes and they like took them off the wall, but they just like left them on the floor, like right in front of where they were. And so I had the bright fucking idea just to take it, and I just picked it up. I'm on the 3rd floor, and I just start leaving the building, you know, and I walk by multiple teachers, and none of them batted a fucking eye, you know. They always say like, if you're confident with whatever you're doing, nobody gives a shit, and I just like I just walked with an air of calmness, like I was supposed to have that water fountain, which obviously I was not, and I took it, you know, and I went and threw it in the bushes behind the school. I don't have, I was gonna come back later and keep it, or like take it home as like a keepsake, but it was gone. But I did manage to keep one little piece, and it's literally hanging up on my wall. TikTok and doom scrolling is a distraction from real life and yourself, but this game, you're trying to play a video game, and then you end up spending most of the time whilst playing the video game reflecting on your... It's the complete opposite thing. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to explain it. I have it written down on a script, and even trying to say the words that I wrote down don't make sense when I'm trying to describe what this game does to you. Does that make sense? If you have one of those people in your life that's dog shit at in-depth discussions, sit that motherfucker down with some power wash and watch him start spilling. I knew I wanted to make this video on Power Wash Simulator, but I realized that power washing on its own is not something that I could riff off and make interesting. So that's why I decided to add this main messaging of stop doom scrolling, spend more time thinking. Even if you need a resource like Power Wash Simulator to make that happen, that's fine. Give it a shot. It will genuinely make you happier, even in a year as dog shit as 2024. I got nothing left to say, so for now, I'll just leave you with the 2 clips of me actually making commentary based on the gameplay. You know, like the thing that you're supposed to do in a Let's Play. I think it's time, guys. I've avoided this as much as physically possible, but I think it's time to clean the vagina off the floor. I know, it sucks. Napoleon would be rolling around in his little grave right now, but it has to be done. I think I have autism.